everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I thought I'd jump on and do a little bit of a project share with you guys. First and foremost, I've made this little book, Copic Stitch book, that I will use as for my color swatches for watercolors. I've just done it just so that I can have practice on my Copic stitch, which as you can see is not very perfect, but I've made it from little bits and pieces from my stash, and that will be good to use to swatch my paints, my watercolor paints, because I've acquired some new ones recently. And I'll just put a title in here, color swatches. And then the next one is a junk journal, which is my junk journal project for the challenge at Kerry May Makes a Mess Facebook group. So Kerry May here on YouTube, every year we do a junk journal challenge in her Facebook group. And this year we played it as if we're playing bingo. So how it goes is that there's a bingo card, and in each squares there would be like prompts so that we can use it to create our journal. And here's mine. So the last prompt that I needed to complete is to share it in Instagram or YouTube or in the group. So I'm shared in the group, and I'm sharing here on YouTube. I have used, this is a very junky type of journal. Again, I like to make use of bits and pieces of paper that needed a new life, really. The cover I made from those letter-sized boxes that you get through the post, and I've got tons of them, so I've used them. So this is, I think, 16 inches by roughly about 16 inches by not inches, centimeters, by about 22 centimeters. The spine is about 6 centimeters, I believe, but in between the spine and the cover there's a little bit of a gap there so that it folds nicely. I have used my buttons from my stash, and I've used cotton thread I've waxed, and I've hand dyed them in rainbow colors. And this linen is from my stash of fabric samples, and this lace has been in my stash in forever. And then I've used wallpaper samples. This is like feather design, and wallpaper sample in there, which is a map of some sort, and another vintage fabric from my stash. The paper is a mixture of from my stash and from what Tony Leanne or Tony Raptor here on YouTube has sent me as a swap. So we recently swapped with paper of papers and ephemeras. So I've used that. That's one of them. Some of them are book pages from the Flow magazine. As you can see, this is a leftover book page from the atlas that I've inherited from my stepdad, and I'm not entirely sure whether I have shared the upcycled version of that book, because I've made that into a big book of like another journal again. This is a vintage music page. One of the prompts of the bingo is to watercolor page, and I just didn't watercolor page. I've watercolored pages because each signature of my book or my journal has got a watercolored page in it. They're all similar. They're all kind of like follow the same kind of like trend pattern in terms of how the pages are put together, and there's 6 signatures. So that's that watercolor page. And then the other prompt is to distress your a page or pages with distress ink, and I've done that. Another page from Flow magazine. The other thing I've incorporated is an envelope from junk mail that I received. So basically sealed the flap and then cut the side to create the pocket. Fold it in half. I've used stamps as one of the prompts as well, to use stamp in your journal, and I've used it all throughout the journal and kept it to like two or three key stamps so it's cohesive. The other prompt is to create a journal tag that is vintage, so that this is my interpretation of a vintage tag. So more pages from Flow magazine, page from Tony Leanne, and I've stamped some doily pattern on the edges. This is the half the yellow envelope, and this one I've made early this year from I think I have posted a video of how I made this, or project shared this. I collaged washi tapes and tissue paper I had in my stash. More pages from Flow magazine, watercolor paper. Yeah, so all of the, as I said, the signatures are similar to each other, just different sort of paper. So it's got cohesiveness to it. This is an envelope made from Flow magazine page. It's a good journaling spot as well as tuck spot. So that's the first signature. Second signature, I've used as you can see, I've used this fabric that is also in my stash. They're like just offcuts. Another envelope there, watercolor paper, stamped in there again. Kept it plain so that you've got good writing space, and you could even watercolor on it. Another envelope from a junk mail and vintage tag, and I've just stuck, this is sent by Tony Leanne and that little swap that we had, so it's a good journaling spot as well. And I've just covered those kind of like writings on the envelope with this cardstock or decorative paper. Yeah. So that's the middle of the signature. Yeah, so these are all from my stash, and I've thoroughly enjoyed creating this, because I've used like things that I don't normally think of using. Again, stamping, and then another journal prompt, bingo prompt I should say, is to create a page, a vintage page. So there's some vintage pages throughout the journal. This paper is from the paper bag, a shopping paper bag that I've acquired from past planner meets, and then I've just collaged some paper and aged it to make it look vintage, and Tony sent me a sheet of stickers that has got vintagey feel to it, so I've stuck them there. More watercolor, another envelope from the junk mail, and this tag, and also it's a top loading one. Just covered that with a sheet of like a page from Flow magazine. So I've chosen like pages from Flow magazine that I think would be great to put in here. That's one. That's a top loading one with a window, which is nice. So you can put photographs in there. It peeks out. Another envelope there. Another, that's the other half, the vintage page. So yeah, if you can see, it's mostly similar. I've just changed some bits and pieces. This one, I don't know if I'm gonna leave it open or I'm gonna close it as an envelope, but I've kept it like that as an option. More watercolor paper. This I like. This is from the Flow magazine again, and I used it to cover a junk mail envelope, and again use that to as a pocket, and you can journal in there, and maybe you can stick a photograph in there. More pages from Flow magazine. I like Flow magazine and Daphne's Diary. I've got loads of Daphne's Diary magazines, so I might use them to create a junk journal. Again, oh, there we go. So there are lots of writing space and lots of kind of like, so that's nice peeking through that, because that can be a nice background, and then you put your photograph or whatever in there, and then you can journal on the side. Again, this is one of the postcards or the journal cards that I've made from decoupaging or collaging. That's a good journal card in there. Kept this really simple, so you can do whatever you want with it. You know, you can paper. Yeah, I loved, as I said, I enjoyed really making this book. Stamped. You can see that I've stamped common things all throughout. It's another tag, another envelope, top loading one. Your paper. I've kept this blank. I did debate whether to stamp it or not, but I thought I'll just leave it as a you know, a good kind of like starting point for something. That one, and I've used to cover the, it's got some writing in it, so I've used a Flow magazine page, floral page, to cover it. Another one of that. I've kept it simple. Yeah. So, do you like junk journals? I'm getting into, this is my 3rd year, but I don't, you know, I feel that I can't write in them sometimes, so I just needed to pluck up the courage to use them. So yeah. So yeah, if you like to join the fun, join us at the Facebook group. It's called Kerry May Makes a Mess. It's a Pets at Home junk mail, and I've saved it because it's got like animals in it. It's really cute. Not that I don't have decorative paper, but you know, I thought I'd use up junk to create my book. So there's another pocket there, the window, you can put a photograph. I've painted that. And another, last but not least, another envelope there. And another page to, you can put stuff and journal on. And that's the end. This one, I don't know what happened here, but I don't know for some unknown reason, because this lesson learned, I have the glue was wet, I don't know, and I've put it, I think I've put it down onto like a dirty spot and it picked it up, but you know, it adds character to the journal, so I'm not bothered by it. So yeah, let me know what you think about my 2 projects shares. I'm really chuffed about it. I haven't crafted for ages, as you've noticed, and I've just been starting to upload videos recently. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe and stick around. And yeah, would be nice to have you here, and learn from each other too. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve my craft, whatever I've shared with you, that would be amazing. Yeah, hit the notification bell button if you want to be notified when I upload videos. It's not very often, I say, but yeah, I'm trying my best to post as much as I can. So have a good day, guys, and thanks for watching. Till next time, bye for now.